Welcome back to Let's Play Guild Wars 2. This is not done. Bitterfrost Frontier is. But we haven't finished this area. Why not? It's a good question. Let's go do it. High Peaks, Frost Gorge Sound. So this is actually being recorded. It is technically the 2nd of January of 2020. The previous episode was also recorded on this date. All in all, we had a pretty decent 2019. It was actually technically a little down from 2018. But I don't really care all that much. I mean, I do. Obviously, I wanna do well. I want the channel to. I want people to watch the videos, but I'm not like stressing about it. I have no reason to. I just kind of take things as they go. Sometimes videos do well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do well for a long time, sometimes they do well for a shorter amount of time. It's just how these things kind of go. But I'm still enjoying myself. I really do still enjoy making videos, even for this game. Like we're what, 20 videos I think or something like that from 500. 500. Just say that again. 500. 500. I mean, I still can't really believe it, but have finished up. Actually, well, I finished it up a couple episodes ago. Technically, this is episode probably 480 or something like that. Right? Yeah, I think this actually is 480. I finished up Tales of Symphonia a couple days ago, which I'm kind of glad to be done with that. I mean, I really enjoyed Tales of Symphonia. I really enjoyed doing Tales. I'm gonna do more Tales games in general. I'll tell you right now, I already have another Tales game on the way. It's already recorded. I'm not kidding. But I really enjoy doing the Tales games. They're just a lot of work with the bonus content and everything else. They're not quick. They're not quick outs, if that makes any sense. A little baseball terminology there. They take some time, but they're so fun to do. I mean, Tales games are so fun, even if I'm not that good at them, by my own admittance. You know what I mean? You feeling me? I also think that's what makes them fun, though. Like, you don't have to be really good at Tales games. If I wanted to show off that I was really good, I would replay through Baldur's Gate. And I'm serious when I say that. Which I will absolutely replay through Baldur's Gate at some point. Mainly because I want to play Siege of Dragonspear. Which, believe it or not, even though I know I've talked about this before, this is now 2020, I own the collector's edition of Siege of Dragonspear. I still have not played it. So, definitely gonna have to play through that at some point. Part of the reason, it's a mix of things, and I know I've talked about this before, and I really don't want to talk about it again, because I feel like it's kind of harps on things that have been put to bed. But I didn't play it because I wasn't a big fan of how Beamdog handled themselves around the release of that game and some of the backlash that it got. A good amount of which I think, honestly, I will sit here and say I think a decent amount of the backlash that Siege of Dragonspear actually got was mostly unwarranted. I don't think poor writing deserves that sort of backlash. If it's bad writing, it's bad writing. It almost is what it is. And I know that kind of probably sounds a little crazy, at least to some people, but look, they wrote a really bad character. And the internet being the internet kind of collectively lost their minds. That's fine. That's part of what it's great about the internet. But the internet kind of lost their mind because there was a really poorly written character And not only a really poorly written character, but a character that kind of touched on a topic that is not something that's present in a lot of Dungeons and Dragons mediums. So it got a pretty volatile response. I think that's the reality of it. My problem was more, again, the handling of certain employees at Beamdog. So that was more my problem. But I know, actually, believe it or not, Beamdog has had I believe at least, unless I'm misinformed from what I've been reading, had a pretty decent turnover of staff since Siege of Dragonspear, which, when you deal with that kind of controversy, even at a smaller studio like Beamdog is, it's kind of to be expected. You know, it's just easier. Like, one of them, I know they claimed, oh, they're moving closer to family or something. It's like, no, they're not. You fired them. Like, oh, coincidentally, just a few months after all this pops up and you know, the internet hates you, oh, you're leaving the company to go work with family. No, they fired her. She got fired. Like, anyone with half a brain is able to realize that she got fired. Which is fine. Because not only did she say some incredibly stupid... Well, she said... Should I just say her name? Yeah, fine. Amber Scott said some really, really dumb things on the internet. Because she did some really bad writing. And really didn't want to own up to it. Look. I'm a writer. I am, legitimately. You swing and miss. It's literally, it's part of the profession. Did she swing and miss in a pretty big spot? Yeah, she pretty much swung and missed at the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded, down 3. Okay, maybe not quite that big, but she swung and missed pretty bad, struck out, and it was in a big spot. And she just didn't want to accept that. She just refused to accept that. No matter what people tried to say to her, no matter what criticism people tried to offer, she just, for whatever reason, the idea that she did some bad writing of some already existing and beloved characters was just not something that she was going to admit to anytime soon. So, but yeah, so coincidentally, like 3 months after Siege of Dragonspear comes out and all this shows up, she gets fired. Or, excuse me, she's leaving the company to go be closer to family. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. I believe it. You don't? You kidding me? Why don't you believe it? I believe it. But, so that is definitely part of the reason why I haven't played it, but a good part of the reason is that I want an authentic reaction for the channel. Because I feel like that would be really cool. Because I've played through Baldur's Gate God knows how many times. As well as Icewind Dale. But, so that's also part of the reason. But definitely, I'd be lying to myself if I didn't say part of the reason was because of some of the controversy that game went over. That came over that game. Because controversy like that just turns you off from a game. It's really hard to get into a game and care about a game that is, you know, kind of under attack from all sides. As far as the internet goes. And it's even harder to care about a game when you feel like some of it is unwarranted and some of it is absolutely warranted. When you're kind of in the middle, like I was, it's really hard to almost pick a side and either don't play the game or play the game. I decided don't play the game because of, like I said, I want an authentic reaction to things that happen for this channel. But would I have played it by now if I didn't have that motivation? Yeah, probably, if I had to guess. Knowing myself, yeah, probably. So, which Beamdog really, I mean, well, they did do Neverwinter Nights. I might play through Neverwinter Nights at some point. I don't love Neverwinter Nights. I know that's like, Oh, that's gonna get me, like, crucified by certain people, but... I mean, I enjoy it. Like, I've played it, and I've played the expansions, but it's not... I don't live for Neverwinter Nights. I think there are some people that absolutely adore that game, and I think it's with good reason, but for me, it's just... It's not that game that is, like, generational, you know, must play. I think it's a very good game, but I don't think it's that game for me. I also think it was in that weird time. I mean, thankfully it's on 3.5. Thank God. Unlike, I believe, Temple of Elemental Evil, which is a game that no one talks about. But Temple of Elemental Evil, I believe, was on 3rd edition, which was also part of the reason why that game was not well received, at least in my opinion. But really the largest reason why that game wasn't well received, and no one talks about it, like, you try to look back and you think, like, oh, why did Temple of Elemental Evil, in the grand scheme of things, why did that game fail? Because that game really pretty much was a failure, at least in terms of, almost said record sales. In terms of, you know, unit sales and whatnot, so you might sit here and say, like, oh, well, why was that game basically a failure? And there were some... You know, there's a couple different opinions on the internet. Some people say the game was buggy, which it was, but no one seems to want to accept... It was set in Greyhawk. No one cares about Greyhawk. Like, like that, you know, might sound really, like, almost too blunt, but no one cares about Greyhawk. Not like they care about the Forgotten Realms, at least. So you're going to tell me that... I'm not sure where this hero point is. You're not going to tell me that didn't have some effect on the game's sales and what people thought about it? Like, the Forgotten Realms had been the go-to setting for Dungeons & Dragons for how many years? Yeah, I mean, at least 10 or 15. Probably even more. And then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, hey, Greyhawk. It's like, wait, what? Like, what... Why? Why? Like, that's really the question that needed to be asked. Why? Why are we going back to Greyhawk? What sense does that make? Like, why? Like, it makes no sense to go back to Greyhawk right now. I mean, this is, what, 2004 or 5? Like, that, like, it makes no sense to go back to Greyhawk. At all. And yet they did, and like I said, I still think... Oh, here it is. I'm an idiot. I still think it's a really large reason as to why that game failed, as it did. Because I just don't think people were interested enough to say, oh yeah, let me pick this up. It did get an expansion, actually, so I guess it wasn't that terrible. And it also, too, it had to deal with 3rd edition was bad. I think that's a big problem. I think, honestly, like, I'll be real... Like, everyone always says, oh, 3rd edition was terrible, but 3.5 is great. I don't think 3.5 is that great. I mean, it's obviously it's better than 3, because 3 was awful. But, like, I don't think 3.5's all that great. I really don't. Like, to me, like, if you told me, like, in terms of Dungeons & Dragons at all, like, in general, I guess I'm going to spend this whole episode talking about Dungeons & Dragons. If you were going to... You know, if you were going to tell me, like, oh, hey, there's no editions of Dungeons & Dragons between Advanced and 5th, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm alright with that. Like, like, I'm totally okay with that. If you want to try to, you know, if you want to tell me that there's no editions of Dungeons & Dragons between 2nd or Advanced and 5th. Because, I mean, 4th wasn't that great. 4th, I think, was just a little too ambitious. You know, for the time, and not even for the time, just for some of the things it wanted to do. I think 5th edition cleaned up a lot of what 4th edition tried to do, made it a lot better. But like, yeah, if you told me or tried to tell me, like, yeah, there's no editions of Dungeons and Dragons between 2nd and 5th, I can live with that. I'm totally okay with that. I don't care. I'm not missing out on anything in terms of what I really enjoy and find fun. Something that will always piss me off until the day I die, though. I cannot stand. Oh, I can't stand positive armor class values. It was so much better when it went into the negatives. It was so much better. No matter what. I don't care what edition it is. God. Just seeing like a 30 armor class just makes my eye twitch. I'm really not sure where to go. There doesn't really appear to be anywhere to go. That is a large jellyfish. Yeah, I can't. I'm getting myself mad. I'm getting myself mad. Alright, well, I'm gonna go somewhere else for now. We'll find. Actually, I'd like to get the waypoints. There's a waypoint there. Let me get up to the Watchful Fjord. Making myself mad. It just, honestly, like, minus looks better to me. And it almost feels better to say. Like, when you sit here and you say, oh, my armor class is 30, it's like, okay. I mean, as good as 30 is, but when you sit here like, my armor class is minus 14, it's like, ooh, it just feels so much better. It feels so good. It's manly. Not that being manly determines your armor class, of course. It really doesn't, actually. But still, you get my point. Also, there's a giant fish swimming under this town thing here. How do I get up there? Am I missing something? I could be. Very well could be. Wouldn't be surprised. Oh, can I get... Oh, come on. Why are there dogs barking? Shut up. It's 2 in the morning. What? Really? Like, actually? Whoa, 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 whoa. But, come on. Wow, that is really, 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 really dumb. That's really dumb. How the hell do you get in there? Hi, guys. What, do I gotta go down? These poor guys are all down. They're struggling. Mosh Poi Poi. Yeah. That's definitely a name. That's for sure. Let me go back over here. But anyway, so that was me ranting about Dungeons & Dragons. That's where I'm going to end this episode. Kukumura thanks you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.